I am no longer vegan.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel.
We have had so many requests for this video, oh my gosh. Heaps and heaps and heaps of people wanted us to respond to a latest video from a YouTuber called Sara, and she has about 800,000 subscribers here on YouTube, so she's a big YouTuber.
She is. And the backstory is that in early September she made a video saying that she was going vegan, and there were some really positive things that came out of that video. For example, she said she was feeling great, which we'll get to more in a moment. And
she talked about all the different kinds of vegan food you can have. She mentioned burgers and pizza and lasagna and cheese, and we're like, yes, good. She's giving people variety. And she also talked about Cowspiracy.
She did.
Fantastic. So she's got a bit of education. She was recommending people watch Cowspiracy, and we're thinking this is really good.
However, we were a little skeptical for two reasons. She started the video by joking about animal products. Now, it's never cool to joke about the suffering of others.
And then she ended the video by saying that she wasn't sure if she was going to be vegan for life. And we're like, hold on, what do you mean?
So,
if you've made some connections, then once you're vegan, you're vegan.
Exactly. Yeah. So it didn't seem to us like she'd made the ethical connection, which is why we left this comment for Sara.
And we also kind of weren't surprised when we saw her most recent video saying, I'm no longer vegan. Now, in Sara's first video on September the 7th, she said she had already been vegan for over a month and that her skin was clear, her hair was growing healthily, she had tons of energy, and she was feeling generally really good about herself. She was happier and fulfilled.
That's right. There were no mention of any issues whatsoever. But then only 5 weeks later, on October 14, this video comes out about no longer being vegan because of health problems.
And what Sara didn't mention in her first video was that she came to a vegan diet because she already had a complex history of stomach issues, and she wanted to fix those problems.
She now says in this second video that she experienced 2 months of being absolutely exhausted by pain and indigestion. Now, to us, this seems completely contradictory to how wonderful she described feeling after more than the first month of those 2 months.
Yeah, so it's a little bit confusing. It jumps around a bit. But Sara said that her digestion went back to normal when she reintroduced animal foods. But let's remember that she had digestive problems before she started a vegan diet.
Right.
So what does back to normal mean? Because her digestion wasn't normal to begin with.
Exactly. Now, a vegan diet made her symptoms worse, but going back to animal products only reduced those symptoms. It doesn't mean that she now has normal digestion.
So why do we care? Why are we making this video? We hear this all the time from people. You guys don't know anything about somebody else's life and their diet and their health, and you're not doctors. Mind your own business. That's their business, leave them alone.
Yeah, it's each to their own. And look, the main reason is because she's spreading a very dangerous message to a very large and influential audience that not everyone has to eat a vegan diet. But the problem is, there are other lives at stake here, that of the animals. And let's not forget the destruction to the planet that animal agriculture industry is causing, as detailed in Cowspiracy that Sara has already watched.
Yeah, and we hear this type of justification all the time. I tried it, it didn't work for me. I wish it did. I really want to go vegan, but there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, and you can see in the comments below her recent video that people are using this as a justification for why they shouldn't or can't eat a vegan diet.
And people love to hear this from somebody else. Oh, she tried it, it didn't work for her either. See, oh, I'm not alone, someone else tried it, it didn't work for them. You know, it's not just me. So the more we have this kind of message spread on social media by somebody that's so influential, it has a very dangerous ripple effect to her audience and beyond.
And of course, we want to help Sara.
Yeah. Sara also says, if you're not my doctor, don't try to guilt trip me for my health decisions.
We're not doctors, and we're not trying to guilt trip you. We're just trying to clarify things for you and anyone else who might be thinking that they can't eat a vegan diet because of this or that health problem.
And we have to speak very generally in this video because we don't have much to go by. Sara doesn't give details. Was she diagnosed with something specific like IBS or colitis or Crohn's disease? What are the details?
Yeah, or exactly what kind of vegan food she was eating. She simply says,
I then called up my doctor to see what was the issue, and he said that the amount of fiber that I was consuming on a daily basis had completely thrown off my body off of its usual programming. I was then advised to go back to my previous diet to see if my body would go back to normal, and I gotta tell you, I really do enjoy not taking 20 dumps a day.
We'll get to the poop part later on.
What we do know is this. As we detailed in a previous video on digestion and bloating, the human species, like any other species of animals, has a species-specific diet. That's a mouthful. We are physiologically and anatomically designed to eat plant foods.
That's right. And here's the thing. We eat what we're not designed to eat.
Yeah.
This causes the issues. We then try to heal those issues by eating what we're designed to eat. Sometimes our symptoms may get worse first, and then if they do, we blame what we're designed to eat instead of the animal products that we're not designed to eat that caused the issues in the first place.
Confused? But it makes sense. Studies in the US show that most doctors receive little to no nutritional training. Some of their patients actually know more about nutrition than the doctors, which is very, very scary to consider.
It is, and in fact, by recommending that you go back to eating animal products, your doctor is actually increasing your risk of death, given that 14 of the 15 leading causes of our death have been scientifically linked to eating animal products.
So fix this little problem over here short term by eating animal products, but we're going to put you in higher risk for heart disease, cancer and diabetes. It doesn't make sense.
Exactly, and if, in terms of the ethical aspect, if you had wanted to remain vegan, as you say that you did, why wouldn't you just, as soon as your doctor advised you to eat animal products, seek out the advice from a plant-based doctor?
Yeah. Okay, onto the pooping section of the video. You didn't really poop 20 times a day for 2 months because we're pretty sure that would kind of like be cholera and you'd
have wasted away to
the
nothing.
Hospital, yeah.
Exactly. Again, sort of very general,
Yeah.
no specifics given, but with such a dangerous message that is affecting people's health, the lives of animals, and the destruction of the environment, you really need to be objective. Exactly how many times a day were you pooping?
Yeah,
because it's all relative.
That's right. I mean, we hear this all the time. People come to a plant-based diet and they're like, oh my God, I spend my whole life in a toilet. And we're like, well, exactly how many times? Oh, I go twice a day now, or 3 times a day.
Yeah,
We're
before
like,
they
that's
could
normal.
schedule it, once a week, for example.
Even if you were pooping, once every second day and all of a sudden you're going twice or 3 times a day, that is normal. So relatively speaking, you think you're pooping 20 times a day and you're spending your whole life in the toilet, but it's normal to go to the bathroom a lot on a high fiber plant-based diet.
Exactly, that's nature's purpose anyway.
Yeah.
You've got to take out the trash, otherwise that trash accumulates and rots, and that's forming the basis of disease.
Yeah. So even though science tells us that we're designed to eat a high fiber plant-based diet, in some cases like in Sara's, where there are digestive issues that are caused by animal products, the high fiber content of plant foods can be an irritant. So
The solution is simple. Eat a vegan diet that is lower in fiber. And a quick Google search will tell you what foods to include and which ones to avoid.
exactly. So you want to avoid high fiber foods like whole grain products. Avoid brown rice and wild rice, things like that.
And dried fruits and their juices, raw fruits, raw vegetables.
Yeah, cooked vegetables are okay, but avoid the raw vegetables. Also dried beans and lentils, things like that, some seeds and nuts. Try to avoid those foods.
And the things that you want to include more of that are lower in fiber are like the vegan alternatives for meat, dairy and eggs.
So the more processed foods, basically.
That's
yeah?
right. And the white flour products like your breads, your white rice, your white pasta, those type of things.
Yeah, anything that's more refined, that's more cooked, will be easier to digest.
So even though science tells us that the human species specific diet is a 100% plant-based diet, within that there are going to be individual differences.
Yeah.
For example, we eat a very high fiber diet based predominantly around whole plant foods. Now we notice that if we introduce more bread and pasta, processed foods, even if they're whole grain, that is enough to slow our bowel movements down significantly.
Yeah, we really notice the difference. So for some people, just introducing more processed foods like bread and pasta is going to be enough, and you can keep them as whole grain. But for other people, that's not going to be enough. So you might want to make them more refined by having white bread and white pasta.
Instead of whole grain.
Yeah.
So as you can see, there's absolutely no need to go back to killing animals. You can easily eat a vegan diet that is lower in fiber.
Absolutely. So, Sara, if you're serious about wanting to be vegan, because you said you were really upset about the fact that you thought you couldn't be, then you need to take this information on board. We suggest maybe you try and find a plant-based doctor or a plant-based nutritionist that can help you move through this.
Yeah. Or we'd be happy for you to flick us
Yeah.
a few days or even a week's worth of food diaries
Yeah.
to show us exactly what you're eating, and we can help you out.
That's right. So we hope you're watching this, and please everybody share this video with Sara. Her social media links are down below in the description.
Exactly, as is a heap of resources as per usual.
Yes.
Please check them out.
Don't forget to give this video a like. Who's going to say it first? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and again, please share this video around with anybody else that you think needs to hear this message.
And remember, until next time, that going vegan is not the most we can do.
It's the least we can do. See you next video.
Bye guys. We were yuppies sitting in alternative cafes, sipping on organic milk lattes whilst eating free-range bacon and eggs.